This Sunday, the parable of the shrewd manager, also known as the unjust steward. Mini workshop number 135 from Luke 16, verses 1 to 13. He said to his disciples, "There was once a rich man who had a servant who managed his property. The rich man was told that the manager was wasting his master's money. So he called him and said, 'What is this I hear about you? Turn in a complete account of your handling of my property, because you cannot be my manager any longer.' The servant said to himself, 'My master is going to dismiss me from my job. What shall I do? I'm not strong enough to dig ditches, and I am ashamed to beg. Now I know what I will do. Then, when my job is gone, I shall have friends who will welcome me in their homes.' So he called in all the people who were in debt to his master and asked the first one, 'How much do you owe my master?' 100 barrels of olive oils, he answered. 'Here is your account,' the manager told him. 'Sit down and write 50. Then he asked another one, 'And you, how much do you owe?' 1,000 bushels of wheat, he answered. 'Here is your account,' the manager told him. 'Write 800. As a result, the master of this dishonest manager praised him for doing such a shrewd thing, because the people of this world are much more shrewd in handling their affairs than the people who belong to the light. And Jesus went on to say, and so I tell you, make friends for yourself with worldly wealth, so that when it gives out, you will be welcome in the eternal home. Whoever is faithful in small matters will be faithful in large ones. Whoever is dishonest in small matters will be dishonest in large ones. If then you have not been faithful in handling worldly wealth, how can you be trusted with true wealth? And if you have not been faithful with what belongs to someone else, who will give you what belongs to you? No servant can be the slave of two masters. Such a slave will hate one and love the other, or will be loyal to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. We need to be very careful when reading and analyzing this parable. At first glance, it gives the appearance that dishonesty, corruption, and bribery may be something to be praised, and also that the people of this world are smarter than the people of the light. Let's see. We have been warned, be careful. They constructed the gospel to find the people, facts, items, and activities related in this miracle. The rich man, the master, in the parable is not God, not represents God. He is just a rich man who was told that he had a dishonest administrator. When the dishonest administrator was called by his master to turn in a complete account of his handling of the property, he knew that he was going to be fired. So he did more of what he had been doing, waste more money of his master's money. He called the debtors of his master and forgave a substantial part of their debts with the purpose of gaining their favor when he would become jobless. The master of the dishonest administrator praised him for doing such a sure thing, because the people of this world are shrewd in handling their affairs than the people who belongs to the light. So the dishonest people are better than the people of the light in managing our affairs. And Jesus told the people to make friends with their wealth. So when it gives out, they will be welcome in the eternal home. Jesus also warned them to be faithful in small matters, worldly wealth that belongs to someone else, because if they were dishonest with that, who will trust them with the true wealth? Jesus ended the parable with a very clear statement. No servant can be the slave of two masters. Such a slave will hate one and love the other, or will be loyal to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both and money. So what is this gospel about? What does the Pope say about this? The Pope, the historian of the church, he said, no to kickbacks, no to corruptions, no to dirty money. The habit of bribes and kickbacks is a worldly and extremely sinful habit. God commanded us to bring home bread through honest work. Instead, this steward was giving dirty bread to his children to eat. For in bringing home unclean bread, their father lost his dignity, and this is a grave sin. Might start with a small bribe, but it is like a drug. From a homily of Pope Francis in November 11, 2013. In this gospel, the Lord is teaching us, and at least we should be able to identify and understand at least three important teachings. Teaching number one: the administrator was dishonest and corrupt, using the money that belongs to his master to bribe the debtors to gain their favor. That's pretty clear. But the master may as well is equally dishonest if you look how he praised his shrewd administrator. In other words, it takes two to tango. Teaching number two: the people of this world does appear to be smarter than the people of the light in handling their affairs. It's just appearance, okay? But Jesus gave the people of the light the way to outsmart the people of this world in handling their own affairs. This is what the Lord said: be honest with the small matters that belong to somebody else, and you will be trusted with the larger matters, like true wealth. Put your wealth, small or large, to good use, and make friends with it, so when it gives out, you will be welcomed in the eternal home. Okay, that's the true wealth. And remind us that nobody can serve two masters. You cannot serve both God and money. Choose to serve God if you want to be an honest administrator. After all, our money doesn't say in greed we trust. It says in God we trust. We don't trust money, we trust God. It's a key concept that you may find useful to remember. Jesus didn't say that wealth is bad, but he said that you can't serve two masters, God and money. A decision should be made. Either you serve God or you decide to have money as your master. There's two choices only. Greed is a capital sin and a clear sign that somebody has decided to have money as their master. And that leads to all kind of evil. The Pope reminded us about that in 2013 homily. Placing any kind of wealth and talents, you have placing them to good use is also a clear sign that you have decided to serve God. Wealth and talents, because talents is part of your wealth. And we were warned in the parable of the talents that we need to use our talents. Whoever decides to serve God recognizes that any will they may have, small or large, and talents, comes from and belongs to God. And it will be okay to put both to good use as an honest administrator will do. This is just a funny reminder about the sins, the capital sins: gluttony, lust, greed, greed, the green one, pride, wrath, envy, and sloth. Sins of excess. Greed is one of the sins of excess. So a concept that you may find useful to remember, continuing, there is a true wealth that belongs to us just by accepting Jesus and his message, redemption and salvation. That is the true wealth and the gift from God by way of his own son Jesus, established when he died for our sins in the new eternal covenant seal with his blood. Let me ask you some basic questions. Why is it so important that we decide to serve God and not money? What is the teaching of this parable about serving two masters? Why wealth is not inherently bad? What makes wealth bad? Reference were taken from the Good News Translation GNT and from the Catechism of the Catholic Church, both document copyright, and all rights reserved by the owners. And also, some reference for this mini workshop were taken from the book Understanding Miracles and Parables. Part 3, Chapter 15, the parable of the Shrewd Manager. This is Alejandro Burgos from El Paso, Texas. This has been the workshop for this Sunday. I see you next Sunday.